So, in advanced configuration, we'll discuss the environment variables, that's the env file, and some parts of the data structure folder in details. So let's look at the data folder. So in the data folder, there is this api.json, which has a list of all the APIs, the auth.json, which has the username and password, and you can set multiple of them. The db.sqlite is a SQLite database file for integrations and sessions because they are dynamic. Objects.json is a list of all the objects that you can later use with the APIs. And projects.json contains a list of all the projects. A lot of them are interrelated. So we have structured the data folder in this way because we wanted to make the database structure visible and inspectable for the developers. Then, if you look at the env file, which is the main file used to be set for all the configurations, we have divided that into three parts. The first part is the server configuration. In that, we have port. You can set the port, whichever port is free or whichever port you want to use. And it's a very common variable. Then we have the base URI. The base URI is also very important because once you set it over here, and let's say you're developing it for production, then that base URI is highlighted here to the end user. Then we have the authentication configurations or settings. We have isauth. Isauth is the primary variable because if you set it to true, the entire application will have an auth layer, and every page you will be asked for authentication with the username and password that you set in the auth.json. Then there is a JWT secret and the time it expires in, the other two variables. And then other part is documentations mode. If you set isdocs mode to true, then what happens is the entire project goes into a documentation mode. All the other pages are disabled, and only the primary documentation that you set is going to be visible to the end user. So let's explore that in details. So let's set up the authentication. Right now we have a server with no authentication running, as you can see over here. If you load, it doesn't ask you for a username and password. So what we are going to do right now is going to set up the authentication. For this, first of all, we have to go to the env file and set the isauth to true. And we have to go to the data.json, and inside it we have to set the necessary configurations. We have to set up the username and password. Right now I have set the username to my own email and the password as a dummy password. The next thing we are going to do is going to reload the server. Finally, if we come back to this page and we reload it, you can just see that it comes behind the auth. If you try to access the other pages too, it will also come under the auth. So all the pages come under the auth except the documentation ones. So if you just type the username and password that you have entered over there, you're allowed to enter in and set anything that you want. That's how easy it is. Also note, you can set multiple of them. So right now I have just set one, but maybe I need another user to use it. So I'll just set it up over here and reload the server again. I'll just log out and I will try to log in by the name of the other user. That was some other email. See, I can log in again with that other user. Now, let's set up the docs mode. This creates doc-only page where user can view the documentation without access to the other feature. To enable this, we're going to go to the env file and set the isdocs mode to true. But we also have to do one more thing. That is, we have to go to integrate docs with SDK, and inside it, we have to expand it to full page, and also we have to set it to primary documentation because that's how it's going to make it live. So if you open this page right now, it opens fine, but all the other pages are accessible also, like you can reload them. But once you have set the isDocs mode to true, and then you have reload the server, you can see only this page is accessible. Whichever page you open will be redirected to the primary documentation. So right now, your documentation comes up with a live endpoint, and inside which you can customize the responses, and all the other pages are disabled. This is the beauty of the docs mode.